And I want to welcome you all to tonight's program called Technotitlan. Technotitlan is part of the Hammer Museum's biennial exhibition called Made in L.A. And we're currently all inside an exhibition space featuring artworks by artist Garay. Garay is a multidisciplinary artist, performer, DJ, and record collector based here in LA. And as part of his Hammer Made in LA biennial exhibition, Garay has invited Gerard, Meraz, and Gutierrez here to speak in a conversation with him, moderated by independent curator Adrian Rivas. Sorry, I think I'm supposed to be in front of the speakers. Is this okay? Right here? Okay. So they're going to talk for about an hour, and then we're going to have a great DJ set with Power Tools and DJ Curator on the turntables. There's a cash bar over there, so feel free to grab a drink. And now please join me in welcoming Adrian Rivas, Gutierrez, Jerry Meraz, and Garay.
Thank you. All right, can you hear me? All right, first off, I'd just like to say the County of Los Angeles recognizes that we occupy land originally and still inhabited and cared for by the Tongva, Tataviam, Serrano, Kich, and Chumash peoples. We honor and pay respect to their elders and descendants, past, present, and emerging, as they continue their stewardship of these lands and waters. All right, and I want to say thank you to Hammer director Ann Philbin, and a special thanks to Paulina Laura from the Pau Gallery in Koreatown. Woo. Here we go. Congratulations to everyone involved in Made in L.A. 2023 Acts of Living. Shout out to curators Diana Naui and Pablo Jose Ramirez. Excellent work. In its sixth iteration of the biannual, and as always, brings forth some of our favorite homegrown artists and collectives. On top of what appears within the gallery walls are these in-depth public programs and engagements. Tonight, the Hammer opens a space for a rare DJ performance and dialogue by a few experts in the field. Welcome to Technotitlan. The visual and sonic experience, archiving and weaving together house and techno records into an electromagnetic mural curated from artist Garay's personal archive of records with Latin-based samples. This artist today has made his passion for music and visual representation of the soundscapes he continually mines and shares publicly. I have been given several Garay gifts from him in the past, like the Johnny Chinga's broadsheet and the accompanied red dual cassette compilation. As a collector on a budget, I have been obsessed with his current and past works of art and felt very excited to find out that I can get further in his work by rolling up to the social gatherings of the collective he co-founded called Mas Exitos.
Give it up.
Am I getting it right? Okay, here we go. The collective events are part social sculpture and part puro desmadre. My first visits instantly took me back to the early days of the downtown underground scene of the late 80s, but with a cumbia baile feel. Garay has found ways to present not only mixtapes, artistic design for parties, and contemporary art, but also open up to future conversations and collaborations that will definitely be revisited and have a lasting influence on newer generations of music lovers. So I present Ganas, Garay.
Thank you. That was great. Thank you.
Can everyone hear me? A little bit too fast? Okay. Our next guest has played everywhere, but one summer night in 2017, during the run of the Getty PST, LACMA had a DJ night in honor of the backyard party. Magic went down that evening on the top level of the Beat Camp building. Chris Gutierrez, known as the Curator, had a blowout performance next to the entrance of the exhibition Home, So Different, So Appealing. The sets he was playing were some of the best backyard-style mixes. Is anyone familiar with the huge B-cam entrance in the elevators? If you're not, well, there's a huge freight elevator, and it gets you up to the space. So, and it was designed by Barbara Kruger. So, well, every time the people rolled up, the doors opened and Curator's instant party. It was tremendous, man.
Thank you.
They were greeted with screams of ecstasy as soon as the doors opened up. People did not have a clue. It was so rad.
I got complaints like 2 months later that the Chagalls were rocked off the
Yeah,
walls.
you did something. Something went wrong, yeah. Yeah, the conservators were still trying to figure it out. Some people freaked out, and others just got their freak on. During Chris's formative years as a 9-year-old boy, 9 years, I still can't believe that. I thought it was 19. 9-year-old boy, Ice-T, Jazzy J, and Africa Islam showed him the ropes at the groundbreaking youth club Radiotron, run by his mentor and program director, Carmelo Alvarez. Is he here? Carmelo. Flash forward 4 decades later, Gutierrez performed at the Radiotron 40th anniversary on the commemorative hip-hop anniversary, the 50th anniversary at Leva Pavilion in MacArthur Park, just blocks away from where Radiotron used to be. As a founding member of the Alliance, led by Richard Humphrey Vision, Power 106 Power Tools, by age 15, opened for Dr. Dre, World Class Wrecking Crew, NWA, Egyptian Lover, Run DMC, Beastie Boys, is this right? Yeah. And 2 Live Crew. And later performing alongside producers MF Doom, Flying Lotus, and Kenny Dope Gonzalez, just to name a few. Currently, he's a resident DJ at Echo Park's Little Joy, and as well as continually blessing many arenas and nightclubs. His sounds have turned up public programs at Mocha, LACMA, Grand Park, Smorgasburg, L.A., and every backyard party from Highland Park to East L.A. over the past 3 decades to date. That's it, right there. Give him that water. He needs water. Thank you. I need water. All right, so when not performing or curating records, for intuitive audiences, Curator collects rare vinyl, enjoys publishing photo books, producing photography and music, consulting on commercial ads and fashion shows, and rattling Chagall paintings at Lockman. Named by KCT as one of the original party pioneers, I introduce you Chris, the Curator Gutierrez. Yeah. I just want to add he was part of Jam Pack Productions. Anyone remember Jam Pack? And the Anti-Socials. Damn. That was the time. Okay, the next guest is one of the most critical minds in our community, Jerry A. Meraz. He's like a brother, I'm telling you. Holds an MA in Chicano Studies from California State University, Northridge. Right? His thesis on oral history of DJ culture from East LA was the first to document the multifaceted contribution of Chicana DJs in the music scene. You can still order it, you can still get it, right? Yeah, there you go. And he published articles of Chicana culture, have appeared on PBS, Artbound, and UCLA's publication Aslan, a journal of Chicana studies. Among others, Meraz is a writer, director, and producer of the documentary Unrest, the making of Chicana studies at CSUN. For almost 2 decades, he was the executive producer, writer, editor, and co-host of KPWR 105.9 Power Tools, the longest running DJ-based mix show in the planet. There we go. I had United States, but then we had to double check. His current musical productions include Cha Cha Chili and Dad Bod in the Mix. Sweet. In addition to his scholarship and creative works, Meraz has been a lecturer of Chicana studies for over 25 years. He was part of Wild Boys, with a Z, and the Brat Pack, if anyone knows, if anyone remembers. Okay. And finally, I want to add that in winter 2007, Jerry and I met and discussed the idea of a project that opened in the summer of 2008 called Featuring the Lights and Sounds of. The original press release reads, Featuring the Lights and Sounds of is an interactive exhibition celebrating the first 30 years of DJ culture, focusing on the Chicana experience in Los Angeles. The exhibition will be developed over a course of 9 weeks and invites the public to contribute their memories, materials, stories, and spinning skills to an ongoing series of events, remembrances, while developing and living archive that serves as a basis of historical research. We wrote all that, huh? Historical research of the genre and its contribution to the cultural landscape of Los Angeles and beyond. Briefly want to mention one panel that came about in 2008 was one titled and initiated by Raul Campos from KCRW. Get these out. The panel was called Breaking the Language Barrier, Music in Nuestra Language, in Nuestra Lengua. The title says it all. Raul Campos was a moderator, and DJ Santi and DJ Slowpoke. I believe the audio can be found online if you just look. My name is Adrian Rivas, the moderator of the evening. I'm a supporter of the arts, business owner, and art collector, and currently on the board of the Vincent Price Art Museum. I co-founded, along with urban planner James Rojas and photographer Justin De Leon, G77, a downtown art space, whose core audience were urban planners, architects, activists in Greater Los Angeles, and contemporary artists who desired a new platform for their work. It opened 2002 and closed in 2010. That's it.
Thank you.
I had to give context. It's all about context. So we're here. We're attempting to do a dig in the, how would we say, digging through vinyls and discovering what is Technotitlan. I want to ask Gary. Gary, can you explain to us?
Yeah,
Technotitlan.
Technotitlan is some words I put together to make this imaginary space for Latin-based techno and house sampled records to live, and for, that being like a creative mode for me to make, whether it be sculptures or paintings. In this instance, it's a painting, but it's also considered an electromagnetic mural because this will also be recorded on cassette tape, and hence electromagnetism is what literally makes a recording on tape. And so, yeah, Technotitlan is just like an imaginary place for these sounds to live and be focused on out of my archive, basically. And this is number 2 in a series of electromagnetic murals. You had mentioned one, Johnny Chingas, was the first piece, which it's a painting, there's printed matter, and a double cassette tape. And so this will also be the same. So this is the unveiling of this painting. It hasn't been shown till today, so all y'all are seeing this painting today. And with that said, thinking about Technotitlan, and thinking about bringing some other people into the fold who are experts, that's why we have Jerry and Chris here and yourself to help make this real and sound and in place.
Yeah, we were just getting at that one stage where we can have maybe expanded this, and we were really controlled, and we kept ourselves to about 16, 18 tracks. And it was so it was just another, because we haven't heard the names of the tracks, and we haven't heard them out loud. And I'm not a DJ, but I was a dancer. I'd be all over the place, and just every time we were just talking about this stuff, I'm like, oh my God, where was I with that shit? Just, and we're gonna try to do this in this fashion, where Chris, the curator will man the decks, and we're going to flip through some of these, unless we need to kind of open it up. Anything else we want to say before we get in there? Chris, any thoughts?
I think we start.
Maybe about,
Yeah, we've got so many good songs we want to share with all of you. It was really hard to wind them down to a selection. Gary's got such an intense collection of records, and after meeting over several times over lunch and coffee, we just figured, hey, you know what? Let's give them a taste of what it sounded like back then. Jerry, what do you think? What do you want to add to this?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
ready?
Yeah. You want to throw that first one on?
We're going to hand this. Can we, let's talk about the first track. Let's see him. Let's see. Do you know how to do it? You need help?
No, I think we got this. I think we're going to geographically start.
Yeah, we're doing geographic, so we're starting East Coast, way over there. Somehow we're going to wind back down to Technotitlan, the heart of Technotitlan. Thank you. Here we go with the first track.
So I think the first one basically comes from the roots of Latin house music. I think when we were trying to discover where we start, how do we get to LA, it's basically a sonic trip from New York to LA. We'll take a couple stops. We'll start here with the Masters at Work.
Yeah.
And so before, River Ocean Project started, and before Louis Vega and Kenny Do Gonzalez, really discovered La India, this song came out, and it just captured a lot of us on the West Coast, and inspired a lot of us, and it sounded something like this.
We're just teasing you.
So, Gary, you've got the dot on the wrong side here.
Dot on the wrong side.
So India started working with Louis Vega at 15 years old in their Brooklyn neighborhood.
Right.
This was one of the first tracks. We chose this because it really features her vocals and some of the sampling that you're going to hear, a lot of sampling in the other tracks. But Louis Vega definitely has the musical history behind him in the live element. His uncle was Hector Lavoe, Fania Records, big salsa label. And so Louis carries that with him into all of his projects. And this was his first project with India. And I think we got the right track now. I'm sure you'll recognize it when you hear it kick in.
Oh, yeah, it's a happy face, by the way.
And shout out to Louis Vega, who's playing this weekend at Grand Park. Right?
That's right.
Anyone?
You remember Irene going, any Latinos in the house? Right at this point right here, at this drop.
I can't get no sleep. Your touch is making me weak. I've got to have your love. You're the one I'm thinking of. I can't get no sleep. I'm thinking of you, thinking of you. I've got to have your love. I've got to have your love. You're the one.
we get the approval from the hammer? Fuck.
You're the one I'm thinking
Feel like there's anything.
All right. So, like I mentioned, India and Louis started doing this around 15 years old, and Chris was 9 when he battled Kid Frost or Ice-T. And we all kind of began around this same age of 15 in our teens, our early teens, either DJing, promoting, or in this case, producing music. And these are some of the early house tracks that we heard that had names on the label that looked like ours. And that was a big thing for us, you know, because, you know, we had a big gap in production in terms of Latino music production out of Los Angeles. We had the big punk move during the 70s and 80s with the Brat and all of those cats. And then before that, of course, Santana and Malo and El Chicano. But it took us a minute to jump onto the electronic production. Definitely the East Coast guys helped us out. Jelly Bean Benitez, of course, being one of the first, doing stuff with the cover girls. Remember Show Me Your Love? The old freestyle, Latin freestyle they called it. And then, of course, that inspired Louis and Kenny Dope, who created Masters at Work and worked with India on this track. We're going into another New Yorker. We could kick the beats in because there's a lot of beats on that. This is
David.
huge, David Morales. David Morales, another big DJ legend from New York City. He had his club, The Red Zone, for many, many years. David worked a lot with Frankie Knuckles, who's one of considered the godfather of house music, and they together created Def Jam, and they would put out a ton of mixes, and this is one of the big ones that we heard and played in the backyards because it was all about partying in the ghetto.
Yeah. And the vocalist is Delta Bennett, Jamaican singer.
Yeah, dance hall vocalist.
Yeah, you can tell.
Let me say.
Remember, I was a dancer, not a DJ.
I do want to thank J Balvin and Pitbull for sure for reworking this one.
Let me say.
Yes, this has been sampled as of late. I'm sure you've heard the remixes or the re-rubs. The sampling of this is a huge record in Latino Club's timeless track. There it is. I mentioned that we had a slow moment in production in the West Coast Latino scene, but we did have Sabi Reyes.
Yeah, so there's an artist, Sabi Reyes.
And we also had Stop, which did the big hit Wake Up and Carnival. And that was
Peebo and
that-
Frank Del Rio.
yes, and
who were
Martin
the DJs
Rodriguez.
from,
And that, so we saw those on the record labels, and really just every kid wanted to be a DJ at that period. We're talking between 1981 to, I'd say, about 89, 90. Everybody was in a DJ crew or a promoter crew, and most of you probably didn't hear about it unless you were there. This is a history that is not really told, not really recognized. As always, Mexican, Chicano contributions in art and culture, especially at the street level, is often ignored unless we're mimicking mainstream stuff such as punk or new wave, and then we'll get a nod or like, oh, you guys are doing good, just like the other guys are. But when we do our own thing, mixing stuff, putting together old music with new music, showing some of our influences from our homes, be it salsa, cumbia, merengue, mariachi. We have some songs that are coming up that sample mariachi stuff, and just some tribal stuff that we all feel in that soul, right? It's often ignored, you know, and this was an underground, organic movement of hundreds of thousands of people from all over Southern California. It was helped promoted through the car culture that we have here, our cruising. We cruised all the way in San Fernando Valley on Van Nuys Boulevard to Whittier Boulevard. There was 2 movies that came out, if you remember, or maybe you don't, but there was 2 movies in 1976 that came out about cruising here in Southern California, Van Nuys Boulevard and Boulevard Nights. And this was a little bit before this DJ thing, but that shows you how much our car culture was our youth culture. You know, we met at these places and exchanged flyers and information on where to meet up and connect and share this new music and these new styles that were coming out. And that's where I first learned about this, from cruising in the early 80s as a kid with my friends' older sisters and friends, and getting flyers and seeing these names and going, wow, are we gonna get to go to these?
I saw you cruising out there sometimes.
Yeah, I saw you passing out flyers.
On flat tops at Tommy's, a little like 4 o'clock in the morning.
So this is, you know, these are tracks and ideas and feelings that you know, we produced from our studios. I think, what's this next one that we have coming up?
This one's Chocolate Tribe.
And why did you choose this one?
Because first off, the song is great, and it's called Conquistadores Chocolates, and really it reminds me of a chocolate called Carlos Quinto.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the track is just amazing, and we were talking recently that this track was originally from
1975. It appeared on the Shifting Gears album by, you know, the one and only Johnny Hammond. So we actually took excerpt of that and sort of studied this record, and believe it or not, it ended up on the MF Doom version of Chocolates Conquistadores.
Is this Chicago, right?
I want to say it's New York.
New York.
Definitely New York.
New York, right? Can you hear it back there?
Conquistadores, chocolate. 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 Conquistadores, chocolate.
All right, so when we were listening to these tracks and what we were gonna select, we talked about, well, there was no chocolate before colonization, so how was there conquistadores chocolates? And well, there probably was some Africans traveling with the Spaniards, or eventually later, you know, joined them. So that's what we're thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And one thing we have to mention too is that on the sample that you hear, the is the world famous Perez Prado,
One of the
king of mambo.
One of the most sampled artists. There's a debate between who was sampled more, James Brown
Or Perez Prado. And I believe it's Perez Prado, but I'm not certain about that. But
You gotta get that.
yeah, just those vocals are just used everywhere, you know.
You know, so we're gonna play, like you heard, the Party in the Ghetto and the India stuff are really big records, but we're also playing some more underground stuff that address some of the issues or topics that we're dealing with. And definitely, this makes a nod to the tercer raíz, the African raíz, to colonization and our experience here. And I think right now we're going into Pedro's house.
No, this one is for this is for La Raza.
This is for La Raza. This is coming from Chicago. I don't know the label, but I know it's a subsidiary.
Underground construction.
Yeah, it's Underground Construction is the big label, and then there was some other labels underneath it. Underground Construction was a Chicago label that featured DJ Attack, who's on this. Rick Garcia. A lot of Mark V and Poogie Bear came out of this. And
Too Hype Jose.
Too Hype. And it was a stable of the hard house scene, and this is kind of like a little side project that they did that was a little more deeper, a little more ethnic.
Here we go. Look at Chris go. He's in his element. 4 decks tonight? Only 4?
Yeah. So this is
Enmudeció el palenque cuando un girazo en el redonde. Enmudeció el palenque cuando un girazo en el redonde.
Yeah, the neighbors love that one.
So this was very common of a lot of the hard house was a Latino sound that dominated the Southwest through the 90s. If you go to Guadalupe Rosales' show down there, that's based on the 90s hard house scene. And you see the style is very baseball cap, t-shirt with their crew name on it. And they really, went for it because it was Latino produced. It sampled our music, and it was banging, as you could tell. It really had that heavy, heavy hit, and we just feel that. I don't know.
Who's this? Next?
That was the This is for La Raza,
Yeah, but this is
Underground Construction.
coming up.
Coming up next, can we play it? It's just an instrumental. Just hit play. Yeah. Lower.
Aztec Mystic.
This is Aztec Mystic. This is from Detroit. This is a Chicano named DJ Rolando. He worked with the Underground Resistance production crew. Him, Santiago Salazar, the 2 Chicanos, Santiago Salazar from out here from LA, moved out there just to study with them. If you want to learn more about Santiago, there's a documentary by one of our homeboys, Alvaro Para. And he
Alvaro, who's in the crowd tonight?
He is? Orale, think. Where's he at? Throw your hand up. Yes, I've played that documentary all the time. I'm at class because it's heavy. It's heavy.
Because you're an Aztec.
Because I'm an Aztec. And I wrote the liner notes for his Chicanismo album that came out a couple of years ago. In Santiago, yeah, he lives here and works here as a janitor. On the weekends, he flies all over the world playing techno music. And he worked with Rolando over in Detroit. This is Rolando's Aztec Mystic. So he wasn't messing around. He was just straight up Knights of the Jaguar by Aztec Mystic. And when you listen to later on this song, he has this sample or he played these keys that he says he's referencing mariachi violins. And it's beautiful. This is one of those timeless tracks that can be played at any rave, any part of the world, and people feel it. Let's bump it up. DJ Rolando, Aztec Mystic, Knights of the Jaguar.
So progressive.
We got to understand that, you know, of course, you probably hear this stuff playing in somebody's backyard or someone's quinceañera or private party. But of course, this does happen in warehouses that people break into or different venues where people get together just to dance and have a good time to this music. And it's not always just about the vocals or what we heard. Sometimes we do, you know, return, as many people say, to, you know, our primal roots, and the DJ is the shaman playing the beats to the audience, taking them on this journey sonically. And oftentimes you don't need a vocal for that. Sometimes not even a bass line. Sometimes you'll just hear tracks just of beats with very subtle changes and very subtle nuances. And that's a big thing about the techno and underground house thing that we're about, because it really is something that calls us back to our roots when we used to go to the medicine man who would play the drum for us or shake a rattle for us to take away an evil spirit or make us feel better about something that happened. Now we do it here with the digital shaman. Okay, how many of you guys had those moments on the dance floor? Yeah, you know,
Tonight.
when we get on that same breath, when we get on that same beat, and we lose sense of time, and we're just there. You know, we're going into Pedro's house, and this is one of...
This is Luis Bart and Luis Bart Montes. This is from the record label. You want to explain about Peerless?
Peerless is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, Mexican record label. And this one's super unique within this selection because maybe besides the track that's coming after this, it's one of the tracks that's produced in Mexico. And yeah, Pedro's house, obviously referencing Pedro Infante.
Pedro Infante was the Peerless's #1 artist back in all the way to the 40s.
Right.
So they've been around since '39. So like, it's cool that all the way to '97.
Yeah.
Then
So
Pedro's house was a big track.
So it's cool. I found this one in Mexico City, and yeah, didn't realize it was from Mexico City. I thought it was from Los Angeles, just on the Peerless label, and go to find out as we all start doing more research that no, it's actually from Mexico.
Dramatic pause.
Pedro's house. That's what it sounds like in Pedro's house.
Casa de P. Yeah, that. So yeah, we mentioned that this Luis Montes de Oca, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he huge Mexican producer. We're gonna go into, I consider the biggest Mexican producer, Andres Mijangos out of Tijuana. We met in the early 90s through Aqua Boogie Records.
Aqua Boogie.
Aqua Boogie, of course, one of the seminal records, labels of the 90s here in Southern California. Andres Mijangos produced one of their biggest hits, Saxmania. He went on to produce lots of music for different labels and moved up into producing mainstream artists like Shakira, Mariah Carey, and all that, because that was the game back then. You made good underground music, the big artists would want you to do a mix for them. This is what we're going to play right now. This has a full vocal by I believe,
Go for it, Chris.
Gabby Estrella. This is Bahia.
el calor de tu cuerpo tocando mi ser, regreso mis recuerdos hacia ti. Bahía, 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 Bahía.
So, as you heard, a lot of the artists before this were doing a lot of sampling, and then there's some actually playing some of their stuff. This is all live. This is Andres working with studio musician and his own production. Small studio in Tijuana, big studio sound.
Here we go. We're now in L.A. Next. Track 2.
One.
Let's see Chris mix it. Mix it selected. Curator.
Yes, so we can produce full vocals, full instrumentations with solos and jazz fills and all that. We just don't sample. Because we do. That is a big thing about Latino music. When you hear our stuff, we do reference a lot of classics. We had a Mover la Colita, I think, in this list. We had something that had La Chona, because, we have a lot of parties and we have multiple generations there, and we want stuff that not just the young folks will understand, but the older folks. And so it is become a genre or, a part of our culture to remix stuff all the time. And that's just part of being Latino, right? Remixing everything.
Were there any Ramon Ayala or Chente remixes?
I think we're going to play Volver, Volver. What do we have here? What's up?
We'll definitely play some Chente later, for sure.
So I'm going to go with La Bota. I think we should play both.
I'm going to play both of these. They're so damn good. Okay. So here's the first one, Gary. You ready?
Let's hear it.
Ganas. Mas Exitos.
Yeah, so that one is sampling Los Tucanes de Tijuana. Or no, sorry, that was La Bota. And that was Grupo El Mexicano. And yeah, amazing sound, amazing track. Just like you were saying, these are things that bridge generational gaps, right? Where old people, young people can hear it. And you know, you probably play this at a party, and the one getting down to it hardest is probably grandma and grandpa.
And that famous, that one tío.
That one
tío that just knew it all.
Yeah,
Dancing like this.
And we were having conversations that these are probably early tracks that some other heads heard that would lead into a genre called quebradita. And I feel like, yes, some of this stuff is probably the earliest, right? Kind of the predecessor to the quebradita. Or this was quebradita before it was called quebradita.
Or quebradita when it was called something else.
Yeah. Breaking it down. You're in Technotitlan. You did it, man.
Sorry, you guys mentioned this guy, so I have to play in while we're here. Hold on a second.
Pico Sports Arena. Look at them. The guys want to play. Go, Jerry. My go-go box. Didn't we order a go-go box? Paulina? Where's my go-go box?
So this is definitely a big song. Probably heard it at Arena every weekend. If you guys went to Arena, which is no longer there, we used to.
Arena's in our heart.
It was you went to circus in the 70s, 80s, and 90s as Giant, but in the 90s it was all about Arena because it was all ages. Mostly Latino, pansexual. DJ Irene was the resident. All props to DJ Irene. With any Latinos in the house, cheer that resonates in the Los Angeles underground forever.
By the way, there's a musical, the Arena musical. I think it's going to be at Casa 101. Yeah. They're doing fundraisers. If you can reach out, Arena the musical.
How many people went to Arena? Anybody remember Arena, or are you guys too young for that? Yeah, Santa Monica Boulevard, man. That was a haven for music for generations, especially in the Latino community. Some of the lead resident DJs there shaped the mixing style of Los Angeles DJs, in my opinion. You had Frank Del Rio, of course, now passed on, left us with some amazing mixes. His legacy lives in every DJ, I believe. Victor Flores, Martin Rodriguez, Peebo.
Peebo still plays.
Huh? Henry de la Peña. Yeah, some of them are still around with us, but they definitely shaped the idea that you have to mix for longer than 10 seconds. If you could do a 1-minute mix or a 2-minute mix, that's cabrón. You have to have a call and response between the tracks. Like one song does this, the other song responds it. You're basically to create a third track. You have 2 tracks, you mix them together and create that third one for that minute or 2 that you can ride that beat, and then you bring it over. And then of course there's other mixes that they develop, the chop mix, which is just dropping, on beat. And
no sync button, right?
No, this was all vinyl, this was all 1200s. Definitely looking at documenting more and more of the stories of circus disco and those big 4 that came out of there. And yeah, that's what kind of like brought a lot of us to the turntables, is hearing stories of how these DJs at circus would manipulate and control a crowd all night. Having interviewed Victor Flores and Frank Del Rio, they all told me the same thing, that Jean de la Prieta, the owner of circus, would tell them, okay, look, at one point of the night, I'm gonna give you a sign, And when I give you that sign, I want you to clear the dance floor. I don't want anybody on the dance floor. I don't care if you got to play things backwards or, just play cuss words. I would want to see one person on the dance floor. He wanted him to go get drinks. He's the owner. But then when I give you the other sign, I want you to bring everybody back. And that was what Victor and Frank loved, that challenge, to clear the dance floor and then get something together with the light guy, because they work with their light guy. These were big clubs with, massive light shows and the DJ, and then bring
Chris?
everybody back.
Chris. They loved it, and the buffet was good. Let's do it.
Yeah, Gene opened that, and he ran for mayor for a quick second. I don't know if you guys remember Gene de la Prieta's run for mayor. I think he was with the Scientologists at the time, which is Hollywood. But are we ready with the next track?
The coolest thing is that recently they did a documentary on Jules from Catch One, and they brought together Jules she was maybe around the same time or earlier. She was the owner of Jules of Catch One.
22, yeah.
And then they both interviewed both Gene and her.
Oh, that's
Was
awesome.
I wrong? I remember, or was I dreaming? But it was so beautiful because they both had these point of views of serving their communities, and the communities crossed over.
A lot of
and I thought that was cool.
When we talk about the backyard parties that Chris is recognized as an official backyard party DJ, that kind of came out of Latinos going to clubs
my God.
like the Odyssey or
Gino's.
Dylan's or other clubs outside of the East Side, and then being treated not right, like shades of racism, you got to pay a little more, or you don't fit the dress code, or whatever. And so that pissed them off.
Open toe shoes.
That would piss them off and say, you know what, we're going to do
Ready?
this back in the East Side, in our places, and sometimes even in our own backyards. We're going to buy massive sound systems, big light shows, and be mobile DJs. And so that, racism in a way of some of the clubs, and we hear this in the punk generation also. They didn't allow Latino punk bands like the Brat to play at the Mask or West Side punk clubs. So the punkers started the Vex. We started, Kennedy Hall, Betty's and Rudy's Pasta House. And then every year we would get together for massive 3,000, 5,000 people parties at Pico Rivera Sports Arena called the Rock of the 80s.
And this is a good segue. Give me a minute, Chris.
This is a sample of an 80s record from the Pico Rivera Sports Arena.
Gary, you're next. You gotta get in there. Sorry, Gary, we're going rogue. Let the viejo spin.
So you heard Chris play what I think a lot of us up here heard for the first time as Fever, Stand in the Shadows of Love, big old disco record that we called it. Some people would call it 21 and over disco. And, but that was also a sample of Stand in the Shadows of Love, an old soul record. And then he mixed into La Migra.
That's one of the best hustle dance tracks to hustle.
Do some.
You know, hustle's coming back. I don't know if you noticed that.
He's bringing it back. But tell us about this record.
Well, La Migra was DJ Puro Humo, and from Los Angeles, beautiful purple vinyl. But that track it's called La Migra, and the sample on there is Ándale, Ándale, ahí viene La Migra. And it's a great track, and that was also made during the time of Pete Wilson and Proposition 187. So it was kind of battling the politics and the anti-immigration bill that got passed at that time, and yeah.
Yeah, see, this is something that a lot of people talk about hip hop and focus on the political, but it was also a lot of party music, just like house music. We have a lot of party music, but we do have some political stuff, some spiritual stuff, some root stuff that we like to tap into. It's not just, rah, rah, going off. There is a diversity of production, diversity of themes, diversity of ideas that we put out, and this was definitely necessary at that time during Pete Wilson and Prop 187.
And I think we got one last track here. If I'm not mistaken, this track is called Cumbia by Juan V. And really, I never heard cumbia played this way. And when I found this record, I was very happy because I'm a big fan of cumbia in general. And to hear it done this way just kind of blew my brains.
Your chairs to the side when you're ready. Carefully. We can drop the lights.
Yeah, so that's Juan V, and he's sampling El Cable from Mario y sus Diamantes. And you heard Chris there mixing the two together in fine fashion that he does. And yeah, man, progressive, hard cumbia, hard house cumbia. And yeah,
and mambo, no?
Semi. So that's been our conversation. And now we're gonna go into party mode. Do we want people to, what are we gonna do with the chairs?
Move your chairs out.
So right now we're gonna get down. We're gonna hear Jerry and Curator get down, and they're gonna DJ for us for an after party for the conversation. So please stick around, have a drink, have a dance. Thank you for coming. And if you can, put your chair aside and enjoy your time. Thank you.